Dear students, this video is precisely for the students of class 9th and 10th preparing for ICSE examination, learning Merchant of Venice. Class 9th and 10th. William Shakespeare is universally regarded as the greatest dramatist and the finest poet of English language. He lived in England during the era of Queen Elizabeth I, which the historian call as Elizabethan age. He married Anne Hathaway in 1582. He later moved to London and began his career as an actor around 1588. By 1592, he had attained success as an actor and playwright. By 1599, he became a partner in the Globe Theatre. This was the kind of look the theatre had, and probably this was a place where the audience used to get seated to view the dramas. Merchant of Venice, written between 1596 and 1599, is broadly classified as a comedy. Let's just discuss about the 5 different stages of Merchant of Venice. Exposition scene. Exposition act is the first and the second scene precisely, wherein we see the foundation of the Bond story and the Cascade story is laid. It introduces us to the main characters, of course, like Antonio, Bassanio, Shylock, Portia. And the first scene takes place in Venice, where Antonio is staged as a very sad and melancholy fellow who does not know the reason from where it has been germinated. Although Salanio and Saladno give number of reasons of his sadness, but there are probably no reasons for his sadness. He defies all the reasons forwarded by both of them. Bassanio, who is his close friend, wishes to meet Antonio, and moreover he is looking forward to take 3,000 ducats from Antonio because he has some designs to go to Belmont, where he can woo Portia and marry her. And if he's successful, he'll be able to pay all the debts he owes to Antonio. Although Antonio tells him that he's helpless at this moment because he does not have the ready cash with him. But then he asks him to make use of all that he has. He can make use of his name and ask if find out anyone who can pay him the money that he requires. This is how we know the foundation for the Bond story, which is yet to take place in Act 1, Scene 3, is already laid. Then comes Act 1, Scene 2, where we are taken to Belmont. We see that Portia, she is already grumbling that she's been restricted the right to choose her husband because her husband has prepared a will before he died. The one who chooses the right casket will only be the husband to Portia. So this is how the casket story is laid. The foundation to the casket story is laid. The rising action is when the signing of the bond which takes place between Antonio and Shylock. But after this bond is signed, in Act 2, shortly you come to know that Antonio's ships have been drowned. And the other things which disturbs Shylock is the fact that his daughter Jessica elopes away with Lorenzo, taking Shylock's money and some jewels. This enrages him, of course, and adding to this, he hears, although he is very happy to hear that Antonio's ships have been drowned because this is the time he was looking forward to revenge. Why he had this feeling of revenge for Antonio? Because Jews during those times were not treated well because of the practice of usury, you might say. They did not like their money lending business at the very high rate of interest. And Antonio, for his compassionate reasons, he had saved quite a few Christians from Shylock's clutches. Moreover, he had a number of times spat on Shylock's carbidine, called him cur, that is dog. So this is why Shylock did not like Antonio. They did not have a good terms. They were already having a big conflict going on between both of them. So this is very clear to us that Shylock wants revenge, and now is the time for him to take revenge. The ball is in Shylock's court. Then comes the climax scene, the trial scene, where he is adamant that he wants justice, he wants the bond to be executed, he wants justice and the bond. And to this, we can also notice that during this time after Bassanio and Portia are married, Portia comes to Venice and try to rescue Antonio from Shylock's clutches. She dresses up as a lawyer along with Nerissa as her clerk, and the falling action when the tables turn, she could, with her intelligence and wit, changes the scene. She traps Shylock and she declares that Shylock had tried to take away the life of a Venetian, Antonio. And to this, he was asked to convert to Christianity and leave his possessions to his daughter Jessica and Lorenzo. And as a fee, they were not ready to take anything as a fee, but their rings, which finally they could persuade their husbands to part with, which again gives birth to a ring episode. Then comes denouement. Finally, all the lovers gather safely in Belmont. Portia and Nerissa, they both forgive Bassanio and Gratiano to have parted their rings. And Antonio gets the happy news of his ships safely returning. So this is how we come to an end, which is a happy ending. And in my further videos, I'm going to talk about the theme and various illusions used in Merchant of Venice. Thank you and keep watching.